Good afternoon, friends from the press. Welcome to today's press conference. First, I'd like to release the news. At the invitation of a member of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee and Minister of Foreign Affairs Wang Yi, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Lao PDR, Dong Savan, Feng Weihan will pay an official visit to China from March 12 to 15. Next, the floor is open for questions.
谢谢发言人。总台央视记者提问，我们注意到。
CCTV, we noted that when responding to a question about Taiwan at a press conference during the two sessions last week, Foreign Minister Wang Yi said that the only reference to the Taiwan region in the UN is Taiwan province of China. Some believe this statement shows the Chinese mainland's tougher policy on Taiwan. What's your view? Resolution 2758, adopted in 1971 by the UN General Assembly, made it clear that there is but one China in the world. Taiwan is not a country, and Taiwan is part of China. It also made clear that there is only one seat of China in the United Nations, and the government of the People's Republic of China is the sole legal representative. This resolution is observed by the UN and its specialized agencies as evidenced by the reference to Taiwan as Taiwan province of China. It was clearly stated in the official legal opinions of the Office of Legal Affairs of the UN Secretariat that the United Nations considers Taiwan as a province of China with no separate status. This is the UN's consistent position, which is well documented. On the Taiwan question, China's position is consistent and clear. We stay committed to the One China principle and the 1992 consensus. We stand ready to work with the greatest sincerity and exert utmost efforts to achieve peaceful reunification. Meanwhile, China will take all necessary measures to defend national sovereignty and territorial integrity and firmly oppose Taiwan independence, separatism, and external interference. Next one.
发言人您好，中国日报记者提问：中方刚刚发布了老挝外交部长
China Daily on the upcoming visit to China by Lao Foreign Minister Dong Savan Feng Weihan that you just mentioned. Can you share the arrangement of this visit and China's expectations? How does China view the current China-Laos relations? China and the Lao PDR are socialist comrades and brothers. The two countries have taken the lead in advancing the building of a community with a shared future for mankind and implementing the three global initiatives. Last year, General Secretary and President Xi Jinping had a successful meeting with General Secretary and President Dongloon Sisulid during the BRICS summit in Kazan, reaching new outcomes in the comprehensive strategic cooperation between the two countries. China has been the biggest source of foreign investment and destination of exports for the Lao PDR for many consecutive years. The China-Laos Railway has witnessed continued growth in both passenger and cargo volume, and its cross-border cargo transport has covered 19 countries and regions. The railway has become a golden route for transportation on the Indo-China Peninsula. The upcoming visit is the first visit to China by Lao Foreign Minister Dong Savan Feng Weihan after he took office. He is also the first foreign minister to visit China after China's two sessions this year. This demonstrates the great importance both sides attach to bilateral relations. During the visit, Foreign Minister Wang Yi will hold talks with Foreign Minister Dong Savan Feng Weihan to exchange views on implementing the common understandings between the top leaders of the two parties and two countries and enhancing bilateral and multilateral strategic coordination. China hopes that the visit will help deepen and enrich the building of the China-Laos community with a shared future, deliver tangibly to the two peoples, and contribute to global and regional peace, stability, and development.
Canada relationship.
周六的时候，中国对加拿大一些商品征收税务，你对中加关系现在的关系的现状有何评论？
执意对部分中国进口产品采取歧视性限制措施。
We have released our response. The discriminatory measures violate trade rules and undermine China's legitimate rights and interests. We will take necessary measures and legitimate measures. We urge the Canadian side to take real measures to recorrect its wrongdoings and provide fair and non-discriminatory environment for the two businesses.
Next one.
发言人好，新华社记者提问。据报道，埃及外长阿卜杜勒阿提日前表示，伊斯兰合作组织
According to reports, Egyptian Foreign Minister Abdelati said that the 20th extraordinary session of the OIC Council of Foreign Ministers adopted Egypt's plan for early recovery and reconstruction in Gaza. He also emphasized the importance of mobilizing international support. Foreign ministers of UK, France, Germany, and Italy have issued a joint statement to support the plan. What's China's stance on this plan? Foreign Minister Wang Yi stressed last week when meeting the press that we support the plan for restoring peace in Gaza initiated by Egypt and other Arab countries. That is the plan for early recovery and reconstruction. On the question of Palestine, we always support the legitimate concerns and the position of Arab and Islamic countries and held the view that the principle of Palestinians governing Palestine should be observed in post-conflict governance in Gaza, and we need to ensure that Palestinian people will rebuild their home on the territory of their own. In a long-term perspective, the ultimate settlement of the Palestinian question requires a return to the two-state solution, and we will continue to play a constructive role to this end. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said Chinese economy is over-dependent on export and the U.S. wants fair and reciprocal trade ties. What's your comment? The report on the work of the government 2025 pointed out domestic demand contributed nearly 70% of growth in China's economy, and stimulating domestic demand across the board was listed as the first task of the 10 areas of work that should be done in 2025. And China will expand domestic demand across the board, positioning it as a key driver and stabilizing force for economic growth. The current China-US trade situation is a result of the law of market and influenced by multiple factors, including our two countries' economic structure and trade policy and the status of dollar. China has never deliberately sought a trade surplus with the U.S. In fact, the U.S. benefited enormously from its trade with China, and the export of U.S. companies in China was counted as China's trade surplus. Quality products exported by China to the U.S. at low cost have raised the actual purchasing power of U.S. consumers and created a huge amount of jobs for the U.S. in transportation, wholesale, retail, and e-commerce. At the same time, U.S. runs a huge trade surplus in services. The trade and economy between China and U.S. are win-win in nature. If one side has been ripping the other off, it would not be possible for both sides to come to where we are today. And the rhetoric of being ripped off and the attempt to seek absolute reciprocity in trade goes against basic economic common sense, and those who are doing this is underestimating the judgment of U.S. enterprises and consumers. No matter how the U.S. packages it, it's impossible for them to hide the agenda of containing of the holdback back in China by politicizing and weaponizing trade issues. And the U.S. trade deficit in 2024 reached $980 billion. Whether a tariff war or a trade war, they are aimed to harm others and will end up with hurting U.S. itself. The U.S. needs to learn lessons and change its course. According to the ROK Defense Department, the DPRK launched several missiles today in waters to the west of the peninsula. What's your comment?
We noted relevant report and also the military, diplomatic, and the DPRK's reaction to the diplomatic and financial sanctions targeting to the DPRK. We urge all parties to go into the direction of the overall direction of political settlement and play a constructive role in the peninsula stability and peace. Next one.
谢谢。深圳卫视实新闻记者提问： 近期，叙利亚过渡政府安全部队在叙利亚
Shenzhen News recent clashes between security forces of the Syrian transitional government and gunmen loyal to the previous regime in western provinces of Latakia and Tartus have caused heavy casualties, including civilians. There is extensive concerns over the situation in Syria in the international community, was China's comment. China is closely following the situation in Syria and is concerned over the heavy casualties caused by armed clashes in Syria. We call on relevant sides to immediately stop the armed clashes and hostilities, earnestly protect the safety of civilians, respect and uphold the principle of inclusiveness, and find a national reconstruction plan that meets the Syrian people's aspirations through dialogue. Next one.
AFP again. 据《华尔街日报》报道，
According Wall Street Journal, U.S. President Trump is considering measures to ban or limit the use of DeepSeek, especially in government agencies. What's your comments?
We all along oppose overstretching the concept of national security and making trade and tech issues political ones, and we will take measures to firmly safeguard the rights and interests of Chinese companies. Next one.
So just following up on the Canadian tariffs, Mark Carney won the race to be the leader of Canada's ruling party and succeed Justin Trudeau as PM. What's your message for the incoming government?
那么，加拿大即将会有新任的总理和政党领导人，你对此有何评论？
We know the relevant report and we congratulate Prime Minister Mark Carney. We will continue to grow the bilateral relations on the basis of mutually beneficial cooperation. We urge the Canadian administration to hold an objective perception towards China and to do more things conducive to the bilateral cooperation and relations. Next one.
还有其他问题吗？
Any other question?
法新社提问，达赖喇嘛今天发布一本新的书，
达赖喇嘛
书名叫《
issued
无声之发声》。
his new book today.
新书发布之前，专文称中国政府以稳定和领土完整为名，
He said that the Chinese government,
西藏文明的企图。那请问中方对
in the name of maintaining stability, will try to gain larger control over Tibet. What's your comment?
The 14th Dalai is not purely a religious figure, but a political pariah conducting anti-China separatist activities under the guise of religion. What Dalai says or does cannot change the prosperity of the Tibetan autonomous region. We hope that relevant parties should not provide a platform for such anti-China separatists. Next one.
Reuters reported last week that the United States is considering charging docking fees for any fleets, cargo vessels and the like, that include Chinese-built or Chinese-flagged ships. Do you have any comment?
据路透社上周报道，美方考虑对一切包括来自中国还有其他国家的停靠船只征收税。你有何评论？
推高全球的海运成本，扰乱全球
China
供应稳定。
Such activities violate global supply and industrial chain stability and undermine the interest of U.S. companies and will not revitalize the shipping industry of the United States. We urge relevant countries to correct this wrongdoing, and we will take necessary measures to uphold our legitimate rights and interests.
您是有问题吗？
Do you have any question?
日本广播协会提问。日前，台湾经济部发布以民间的名义参加日本大阪的
NHK
对此有何评论？有何回应？
Taiwan's economic department participated an expo in Japan. What's your comment?
这个立场是一贯。
We all along oppose any official interactions between Taiwan and other countries. Next one.
Alan Wong from Bloomberg. There are reports that the U.S. has promised to accelerate arms shipments to Taiwan. Can you comment,
有
please?
报道称，美国将加快向台湾交付武器，你能否证实？
中方坚决反对美台军事联系。
We firmly oppose
对台出售
military
立
interactions
场是一贯
and the U.S. selling
台湾
arms
问
to
题是
Taiwan.
中国核心利益的
Taiwan
核心，也
is
是
at
中美
the
关系
core
非常
interests of
重要
China's
的
core
一个
interests
关
and
系。
the first red line that must not be crossed in China-US relations. We urge the United States to abide by the One China principle and the guiding principles of the Three China-US joint communiques. Stop arming Taiwan, selling arms to Taiwan, and stop provocating strain in the Taiwan Strait, and stop undermining cross-strait peace and stability.
下一个问题。
Next one.
Canada will go to an election later this year. Do you have a message for the candidates running in that federal election? What are China's hopes for this election?
选举是加拿大的内政，我不做。
The election is an internal affair of Canada. I will not comment on that.
下一个问题。
Next one.
还有其他问题吗？
Is there any other question?
那好，今天的记者
Well, that's the end of today's press conference. Thank you.